Dude, baby, it's time to ride the funk train. This is Funk Master V, rocking the women's sunglasses and the Rolex watches like we do. Well, thank you for visiting us on the mothership today. I'm excited to bring a new article. Well, I lied. It's not a new article. It's an old article over from the Atari 7800 Forever website, the largest website on the planet that deals only with the Atari 7800. Man, I'm telling you, this has over 20-something years of articles, news, reviews, and fun things. And so we're going to start bringing these articles over into video form, because who wants to read anymore? I know you guys aren't losers. We're people who read the nerds. We need to throw them into chasms and pour tar on them and say, "Get out of here, nerd." Well, we are going to make videos so you can drool. You have the spit coming out of the side of your mouth on the couch as you're watching these videos. And the first video we're bringing over today is a list of the top 10 Atari 7800 unreleased prototypes. It's convenient that top 10s are fun and ubiquitous, because there's only been 10 Atari 7800 prototypes found. Now, there's rumors of more. And in fact, this year, the fella from Atari Sales / Video 61, Lance Rehnquist, found an EEPROM for possibly Road Riot. He's not sure yet. But so far, only 10 been found, and we're going to go down the list of the top 10 and the ones you need to purchase, because oddly enough, now, in aftermarket status, some of these are available pretty cheap online. Should you get them? Should you not? I'm going to help you out after this kick-ass intro.
Since the beginning of time, there's only been one website with the Babylons to claim every game reviewed when it came to the Prosystem, and that's Atari7800forever.com.
But now it's time to get on that YouTube trip, babies. And who am I? I'm Funk Master V, musician, ghost hunter, hat flipper, pro wrestler, comedian, actor, filmmaker, and I'm going to take you on a whirlwind tour of all things cool about Atari and the Atari 7800 with a podcast, news, even new crap. Baby, are you ready to get your groove on? Because it's about to get funky up in here. So the first question you may have, dear listener, is what is a prototype? Well, Webster's Dictionary defines prototype as a thing, a game, like a game that... Shit, man, I told you, I don't read. I ain't no nerd. I'm going to tell you what my best guess is. It's basically an incomplete game, something that was stopped for whatever reason in the middle of being developed. Some of these existed on these old Atari computers. Basically, when Atari said, hey, screw the 7800 and all these other systems, there was a lot of computers that had a lot of cool games that I wish somebody was smart enough to keep around and let us horse around with these things. But they probably at the time thought there would be no market for this type of thing. So these things that are on this list have been found, saved, and some of these have actually been tweaked to make these actually playable on carts and on emulators. So let's go down the list, the top 10 unreleased Atari 7800 prototypes. Number 10, GATO. GATO? GATO. That means cat in Spanish. I don't know why I know that, but I do. Hey, I'm telling you, the flight simulators for the Atari 7800 are some of the worst games you can get. Probably only eclipsed by the sports titles. Those were horrible too. GATO at least was interesting because it's a submarine simulator. And you can only cycle through 4 of these screens on the Atari 7800 version of this game. But this sub-game is devoid of any sort of gameplay, but it looks pretty cool. And if you get the box, which you can get the prototype box from an Etsy store, I'll leave a link in the description for that. The box looks really cool on a shelf. But again, this is a port of a computer game, and we all know simulation games just didn't port too well over to the 7800 from computers, and you can't do much with this one, so this one's kind of a dud at 10. Number 9 is one of my favorite games of all time. Only a few screens of Rampart exist in this incomplete stab at this horribly difficult arcade game. The selection screen is functional, but what happens when the game starts is pretty odd. You just have to see it to believe it. This is a very early stage of Rampart. Again, that game is awesome, but this one is not. There are rumors that Rampart actually was pretty close to being done, but that version has never been found, unfortunately. Maybe one day, but if you want this incomplete version, you can pick it up at Good Deal Games online. Ah yes, number 8 is Pit Fighter. Pit Fighter is one of those Atari games, arcade game that started using digitized graphics. These things did not age well. Most of the time they didn't play well, and really they kind of look like crap. With Pit Fighter, I always used to use the wrestler with the mullet. He kept power slamming nobody into nothingness. It was pretty bad. In fact, before I was fired from the Atari Network podcast, John and I interviewed Ted Taquichi, who said that Pit Fighter looked so bad during his interview that Jack Trammell, when he saw the prototype, said, "Screw the 7800, let's pull the plug." So this game is the one to blame on the 7800's demise. You can purchase this game at Good Deal Games, and it's kind of fun in a way. It doesn't look like Pit Fighter. They probably shouldn't have marketed it as Pit Fighter, but it's very incomplete, and it's a very ugly version of a very crappy fighting arcade game with the same name. You can, however, knock a few guys out, so that's always fun. You can kind of see that you could roll and kick and knock and punch and screw and bite and claw. Well, maybe not all that stuff, but you can knock a few fools out, and that's kind of fun, but not really. Number 7 is Rescue on Fracatlus. This is a beautiful game that perfectly renders the scrolling backgrounds that made other ports of Rescue on Fracatlus famous. But besides flying the ship around, you can't do anything else in this version. This is a game that didn't age well, but man, at the time, it looked great. And you can actually purchase this game as well on Good Deal Games. Like I said before, you really can't do anything much, but you can see the beautiful scaling terrain and just kind of wish, man, that would have been a lot of fun if that was released. Number 6 may be the most interesting game on this list. It's Missing in Action, which is a Chuck Norris movie, and you get to play the eponymous hero, Chuck Norris. What's weird about this game is that you can beat it. There's a lot of bugs. It wasn't nearly finished, but it has all the levels, and it has kind of the end screen, has an end boss and everything in it, and it's kind of a big game, and it's interesting. Mitch Orman, the guy that runs Atari7800.org, saved this. He actually used his own money and bought this game and released it for people to play. You can buy this again at Good Deal Games. I guess they're the prototype kings, on a cart and horse around with it. MIA basically is a side-scrolling action adventure game featuring Chuck Norris. Incomplete, this game can still be beaten by using a guide created by the aforementioned Mitch from Atari7800.org. So yeah, there's a couple of ways to kind of circumvent some of the screens that are incomplete to where you can get to the final boss, who is an Asian man with sunglasses who just keeps offering Chuck Norris drugs. That is not a good idea ever. Number 5 on this list is Sentinel, the NTSC version, or for you dummies who don't know any better, that's the American version. Sentinel is a 100% complete light gun game that was never released in the US due to the American market being so dead for the 7800. It was, however, released in PAL markets, and a 2600 version of this game was released in limited quantities. In fact, the Atari 2600 version of this game is the only light gun game for the Atari 2600. Although complete, and this game is complete, the game is pretty monotonous. RescueSoft released this NTSC version of the game at the same time as Klax, which was another prototype we may get to on this list. We may not. This game is a good idea, but it just, for some reason, doesn't play well. All the light gun games on the 7800 are pretty lame if you can't use the joystick, but this is one of the lamest. Number 4 on this list is Toki. This game's ROM is being set on by its owner, who's just a complete jackass, who doesn't know anything about video games, and he thinks this is going to be something valuable one day. We're all going to die soon, dude. If you watch this video, which you won't because you don't like video games, but dude, we're all going to be dead here in about 20 years. Release the damn thing. It's a shame because this is a virtually complete game. It's not 100% complete, but it does feature almost everything that the arcade version does, just on a scaled down version. I think this version is actually interesting because of its limitations. Graphically, this game pales in comparison to even the NES version, but it does feature all the levels, terrains, power-ups, story screens, and most of the enemies. It's an unlikable platformer. I mean, you're an ape man that spits. I don't know, it's so gross. I just had a Shih Tzu go through the bathroom trash and bring out all the sanitary napkins for the ladies of the house. I got enough grossness in my life. I don't need to see a video game that has an ape spitting everywhere. Jesus. Number 3 on the list is Klax. One of the most complete 7800 unreleased prototypes discovered, Klax was released by RescueSoft after its discovery in 2007. It's an excellent port of the cerebral stuff is falling puzzle game that is only missing really music and that really sexy girl's voice. Before John Silverback Stoll, the Atari 7800 Pro Gamer, fired me from the Atari Network podcast, we interviewed David Dent, and he actually put in some really cool codes and secrets and little tricks you can play. And if you go to my cheat code part of the website, you can see a couple of these. He forgot the third one, which sucks, but there are 3 hidden puzzles that's available only in this version of the game. This is a very playable game and pretty fun. Number 2 on the list is Plutos. Others, like the video game critic, prefer this game to the number 1 game Sirius, but it is a matter of taste. This vertical shoot-'em-up was discovered on the same computer as Sirius in 2008 and features simultaneous 2-player support and graphically impressive levels. However, the boss battles are pretty lame. Technically, this game was not finished, but it's hard to say what is lacking. This game was physically released for sale back in the double lots. The cool thing about this game too is you can play 2 players simultaneous. The second player's ship is awesome looking. This game is really impressive. If you're used to like Xevious, which is a fine game, or Galaga, you'll be blown away by Plutos. The only thing about this game that kind of sucks, I think, is it starts repeating the backgrounds. They just change the colors. That's the only thing about this game I think is kind of stinky, besides the boss battles. But it's a very, very, very good game. Number 1, and this is by far the best unreleased prototype, and it may be the best shooter on the system, is Sirius. Yes, I'm serious. This frickin' prototype is excellent. It's a horizontal shoot-'em-up that is challenging and beautiful. The game is not complete, but again, I really don't know what's missing besides maybe the music. The game was discovered in 2008, tweaked, and physically released for purchase. This is one of the better games for the system. Man, I'm thinking about the shooters, especially the horizontal shooters. Scramble may be better than this, but that's a prototype, or that's a homebrew by Bob Baker Shinzo. But I really think this Sirius game is one of the best shooters on the system. The 3rd level looks better than anything that the NES ever did. The boss on that level is like a real boss. If I had to complain about this game at all, I would say there's only 4 screens. And then once you beat the game, it just kind of resets. There's no ending. And also, the bosses are kind of lame, but they're a lot better than Plutos' bosses. And damn, good game. All right, folks, this is the list of 10 unreleased prototypes that have been since released for the most part, except for Toki. I'm looking at you, a-hole, rich a-hole guy. Release that damn thing. What's the matter with you? So we're going to start releasing Atari 7800 videos every week. We hope you touch yourself with pleasure in thinking about that and enjoying these videos. Please spread the word because my algorithm is awful. Because we do ghost hunting. Check out Wrestling with Ghosts. We do movies. Check out the Smoky Mountain Chronicles. And we also do Tubi Tuesday Movie Night, comedy sketches, and a whole bunch of other stuff on this YouTube page. Please stick around, look at it, lick it up. Touch yourself with pleasure, as I said, and we will see you next time on the Mothership.